a lesson for Dall'Abaco. Very nice playing. It's very sensitive, and I like your ornaments, and I like that you're breathing and you're taking time, and I can see that you really enjoy this piece, so that's great. From the very beginning, we can talk about sound a little bit, and I'm going to use the bass notes as an example. So your homework for the video is to go back and look at the way you approach the first note. So an interesting thing to do could be to watch your video at a much slower speed. Watch it at 25% speed or something. I think what you'll see is that you do something like you're holding the bow up here, but then actually you're using pressure as if you were holding the bow at the frog. In other words, sinking into the string as you play the note. And yesterday we had this kind of longish, interesting discussion in our class, in our conference, about how to release the weight, how to keep the string, how to keep the weight on the string and then release it organically, so that you're not doing this, but you're also not pushing into the string. So it's now the art is really to find the balance between those two. So I suggest that you start with the bass line. The bass line is really simple, right? It's like a very classic chaconne bass line. So first of all, decide how you're going to play that bass line. For me, it would be just the simplest possible, which is just a descending line. So once that picture is clear for you, then take the first note, let your arm drop onto the string. Feel that you're relaxed here. The upper arm should be really relaxed. And then just let the weight travel along the length of the string, along the length of the bow, and see if you can notice if you're taking the bow away from the string too soon. If you do that, then the arc of the bow looks kind of like an upwards curve, like the curve we don't want on the coronavirus. If you take it away with weight, it looks like a much flatter line. That's the kind of line we want with the coronavirus, right? Flatten the curve. So, and then what happens is if here is the string, here's your bow, here's the string of the hair of the bow, and you're just going to pet the string so that it keeps ringing when you leave it. So it's not this, and it's also not this. Okay? Just trying to be really super specific about that. Then I would take the bass notes and just do let each note ring afterwards, and you can keep the left hand on the string, because it's just like when you pits. If you keep the pressure of the left hand on the string, then it's going to keep ringing. If you let it go, then it's over immediately. So keep that in mind when you want to emphasize a bass line, that if you can hold the first note with the left hand, then it's going to go on ringing. Okay? Then another little exercise for you to examine in your video is, again, to just see what your head is doing. It's getting much, much, much better. Much better. But also look at what the function of your breathing is. You are breathing, and that's great, because some people don't breathe when they play, and that's not so good. But you are breathing, but it is in a way that seems to be making the phrases shorter. And if the breathing is loud enough that I can hear it, of course it depends on your microphone settings, but if it's loud enough for me to hear it, then it's probably a little bit too active for something like this. I would forgive that for, let's say, Prokofiev Symphonia Concertante, the second movement. Of course, you're going to be giving as much as you can and probably breathing a lot. So, but here it's relatively, it's relaxed. I think if you can calm your breathing, then you can also make more space for the different lines so that you have. Right? And then there's the good point that Clara made yesterday in our Klassenstunde, that you can make more differentiation between all of this. There's and now. So those scales going down could have a little more personality. They could have your personal stamp of how does it feel to return to C minor again. Okay, so that's just the very first phrase. Took a long time for that. What else? Think about the idea of speaking. This is something that Anna Bilsma also talks about, so please do read that. Those excerpts of his book that I posted. I posted excerpts that relate directly to the third Bach suite, so that could be helpful for you. He talks about speaking, pronouncing things, and that's also one way to keep the voices separate. So let's say, let's take just the last couple bars of this section, the first half. Okay, you could come up with different sections of that. Of this figure. So it's sometimes maybe like those are together or those are together. So and I know you do different articulations. You do one articulation, you do it longer the first time, you do it shorter the second time. Very nice. But can you also articulate within each bar to create some texture? And so you could speak one line and sing the other line. For example, like this way I was thinking about singing here, and this is speaking. These little syllables. Okay, that's just one possibility. You can come up with a lot of different ways to separate those voices. Okay, then in the second half, you're playing here. So I understand playing in the third position here, but maybe here. I know this is an uncomfortable leap, but it could help with the voice leading if you want to make a descending line. And to me, it's quite obvious. It's a descending line. So if it is a physically descending line, then it's very easy to make it just a dynamically descending line. So give that a try. Maybe first position here, and then give yourself time. No need to hurry those. Also, at the ends of each bar, this is something that you can listen to in detail in your video also and watch what you do. So for example, watch for any kind of, I want to say Unruhe, any kind of lack of calm, any kind of nervousness at the end of the bar that's making you go, because there are different ways of connecting lines, and if you want to connect the bass line, then it doesn't help to connect this voice to the bass line. If listeners to hear this, then you have to connect that big line. So that means that you keep this in your mind, in your mind's ear. Just as if you were playing two different instruments. So try to finish this also as if you're playing a different instrument, and you don't have to worry about the next note that's coming. This is another thing, maybe a little sip of water. This also ties in with the way you breathe. If you're breathing to accommodate the phrasing in each bar, then you will always have either a little break here, or you will be rushing into the next bar. So I definitely don't want to dictate how you breathe in every bar and in every movement. Not at all. But if you can think about, not physically, but musically breathing through 4 bars, then you might be able to keep these two voices more separate and keep the upper voice able to, let's say, improvise a little bit more. So you go... And that could be a good exercise for you too. Just play everything except for the first note and see how you would play that if you had only that to play, and if you knew that someone else would play this really nice bass line. Okay? So try that out. Somebody else yesterday also talked about the resonance on the lower strings, and that could be one key to it, so that you are taking the time for this bass line, not hurrying yourself to get to, but really feeling it. Alright? There's also, this is especially when you get to this part, this... in my book, you have license to take your time there. Let that resonate, really enjoy it, and don't push yourself to get to the next note. If you, again, imagine you have 2 different instruments going here. You've got the low C string, this is one instrument, your partner over here, and then you take over. I think of this also as having 2 different arm weights, 2 different kinds of bowing. So on the one hand it's heavy and slow, the bow, and then on the other hand really light and fast bow. That way you can differentiate the voices pretty well. Okay, what else? Your ending, I really liked the way you end it. It's free, it sounds spontaneous and really nice. Think about how you want to end the very last chords. You just have different options. The way you did it is good. Nothing wrong with it. Just try out other possibilities, like that would be one possibility to really sink into the bass note. You could move through, and that would be a slow roll. You could roll through the chords more quickly and emphasize the top note. And just leave the lower strings to ring. Okay, so try different variations of that. So you just have you have those tools in your box when you feel like being spontaneous. Okay, so I'm gonna look at Bach now. This is your I'm gonna stop the video and make a new video for Bach.